Like,
I was like, here we are. Annietude and Rock the Boat are here to see everybody today. We were just having an interesting conversation and I halted it so that we could have the actual conversation live because that's what we do. So I finally have this girl who I love and I've known for a while now on my show. And I'm
funny. I thought one day, I'm like, did she ever ask me to be on her show?
Wait a minute. Wait. Why didn't you say to me, when am I coming on? That's what I expected.
It's like, I don't want to be that person that's like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm weird like that.
I hope other people don't feel that way because I just have so much.
No, even Reggie, my boo, I'm always, like, I think one day, like, he did something on his post and then I commented on the bottom, like, yeah, maybe one day my boo bear will actually have me as a guest on his show. And he still hasn't asked me.
So this is the thing. So you even gave him a clue and he didn't. All right. As soon as I got a clue. So I just thought to myself one day, I'm like, wait a minute. Has she not been on the show? And like, why not? So welcome.
Thank you.
Let's talk about what Raquel just said. Hi, Cherie.
Sherry.
How are you? I love that she just popped on and said hi. I like it. I said this last time as like many times as I do shows, I still get really excited when people come say hi. Do you know what I mean?
I have to say Sherry. So Sherry, we've been connected, and then obviously, like, you know, she did a video with Michael Ray down in Florida and everything. But I will have to tell you this, Sherry. I had never seen one of her lives, and I finished talking to Michael Ray. We were FaceTiming because we always do. We just FaceTime before this too.
Yep.
And I got on and I was like, let me see Sherry's live. And I happened to catch the one where she was really open, like very open and vulnerable about her ex-husband and her marriage, why she got divorced and being single. Oh, see there.
Hi, Michael. And hi, Tom. And real quick, I just want to say hi to Tom. I have a question for Tom when you're done this story.
Okay.
Stay on. Hi, Judy. How are you, beautiful?
So anyways, it was just really interesting because she was like probably the most open she's ever been on a live and I just really appreciated it. So Sherry, like, that was amazing. You're amazing. And yeah.
Hi, G. Everyone's coming to say hi. You're so popular. My God. Hi, Brad. One of my favorite people.
Cool. Judy. Oh.
Okay. So we got on and you were like raving that. First of all, I think you're beautiful. And I thought that before.
Well, thank you.
I mean, that's obviously the only reason I'm having you on my show. No, but like you were like, I have no makeup on and I have no snap filter and I don't know what a snap filter is.
Like nothing. Like this is like zero makeup on. Like I look like I just woke up. I was never Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I have to tune in on this one.
Hi, Emerson. How are you?
Telling you, and then you're like, what is a snap cam filter?
Yeah, what does that mean? I want it.
Once again, folks, with social media, and then there's Instagram and the filters, like a lot of people look a lot better with these filters. So I
don't really believe in that. I don't believe in that because I think
this filter, for instance,
Mikey.
Like, so this filter is probably one of the more natural ones, but you see how it brightened up my eyes, and it did kind of like. But there's some like real serious ones where you totally look completely different, and it can give you makeup. It can. I could have.
So I know you can do this on TikTok. I don't do it, but I don't understand and people do this on dating sites just so everybody knows. Like,
yeah. So for instance, there's this one. I think it gives me a little bit more like contour and some eyelashes.
Wait, can you do it on me? I want to see what it looks like.
No,
I don't have any filter.
Download it. You have to upload. Oh, see, that was kind of weird. But no, you have to upload the Snap Cam filter. But yeah, see how it like brightens your eyes and everything, and then it does kind of soften the bags. So I got used to this, and then I realized I was like, okay, Raquel, like now you're getting used to looking at yourself
different, and it's not you.
So I'm going to turn that, and then it really does F with your head. This is why I hear that these young girls are going into plastic surgery offices and everything, and they're like, hey, can I look like my filtered self? Like they're literally showing a filter of themselves going, I want to look like that. And so it really does mess with your freaking.
It's the most disingenuous thing I think you can do. I understand wanting a little bit of like a lighting, like a little softer lighting, and
there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, but I mean, to actually change your face. And then sadly, like these little girls, and we just had Evie on screen before my daughter came in just to say hi to her.
Beautiful girl. Oh my gosh, and that hair.
Thank you. I know, like, where did this perfect hair come from? It's like right out of a beauty shop all the time. But anyway, but thank you. Yeah, she's awesome. But I mean, it's just so disingenuous. And I see it all the time in my life because of like, you know, dating and meeting people, and they just don't represent themselves. What I don't get is like, are they thinking that they're going to show up and win you over with their winning personality? Like, I'm confused. Like, are they that confident in their personality that they give you a totally different?
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Like, I'm not on any dating apps. I mean, I've tried it before, but I haven't been on it in a really long time.
It's awful.
I have no desire to get back on them because, yeah, it's like, it's amazing how obviously you're going to show your best pictures and you're looking good.
Well, I mean, great, but like you want to look like you're like, you want to recognize yourself. I mean, in the past, I've seen people that like just look like totally different people. Like you don't recognize them when you show up.
Well, and I've had stories of guys tell me, hey, I've had stories of guys tell me like, yeah, she like totally different or look like 20 years older or whatever.
Yeah. Or
girlfriends of mine where they're like, okay, the guy came in like looking homeless when here on his, you know, pictures, he's like in a suit and looking all cleaned up. And then he comes in looking freaking disheveled and just like,
yeah. And that was the best day of his life. Like that was his sister's wedding or something. You know, like, embrace who you are. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and look, I understand that that's tough for some people. For most people, I think it's, you know, you don't always think you look good and you want to look your best. And I understand wanting to represent yourself looking your best, but it's just very, like, the word that comes to mind is disingenuous. And what I found is that people don't, that's about you. Like, people don't even really receive that well. They don't want you to look fake. They want you to wake up and look real. And like, I'm not saying, you know, I don't wear any makeup, you know, like it's minimal, but like people want you to be you. Like, that's what I've learned in this past year, especially like with LinkedIn and COVID and all of this meaningful connection. I've learned that people really want real. They want, and I hate to even use this word because it's so overused now, but they want
authentic.
I don't even want to use it. But you know, they want, and they want you to show up real. And you know, the truth of the matter is, if you go and sleep at somebody's house or something, you're going to look like you in the morning, right? So like, you might as well look like you. Like, what are you trying to do? So,
you know what's funny is so on that note, I used to watch
the dad bod.
Yes, hashtag dad bod. I used to watch Oprah all the time, and there was like, I'll never forget this one where she had this woman that literally like had makeup on 24/7. Her husband had never.
Oh, she got it like painted on?
She would wake up before her husband would get up and go and like refresh her makeup and put it on and everything. And so like, he had never seen her without it. No one had ever seen her without any makeup on. And so I guess the challenge was, it was fantastic, where she had to go with no makeup on for like a week or whatever and literally go out in public. And the poor woman was having like major anxiety attacks about it. But she later realized like, oh my gosh, this is so refreshing not having to like put
that's so much
every day.
Anxiety. That's so exhausting. I mean, I wish it took me longer to get ready. Like sometimes I'm like, I want to be one of those girls that like separates my eyelashes, but I just can't do it. Like it takes me a solid 10 minutes and I'm done. And I'm always like, oh, I'm ready like 50 minutes early, you know? But like, I just can't I don't have the patience to be one of those girls that just.
No, I'm the same way. I used to get ready quicker than some of the guys that I used to date too, where I'm like, come on, bring it up. Like, let's go. Let's do the thing. Like if I don't give a crap of what I look like, why do you care, right?
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy though, like because of social media, we have gotten used to being, and so that's why I'm trying to do the opposite. And it is really difficult for me because I'm turning 46 this year. Like I'm starting.
I mean, your skin looks amazing. You look amazing.
Well, thank you. But it's like, you know, the gray hair and the wrinkles and the this and that. I'm like, no, I really need to embrace like who I am. And I'm really
love that. That is so much strength. I mean, that takes courage. Not that it takes so much courage because you look bad. I'm not saying that at all.
but I get it because our insecurities, like we're all in our own way. And, it's like, it is hard. Like me sitting here looking at myself, I'm like, oh my God, my bags, all of this. But at the same time, like, I want to be that person right now because I have a teenage daughter. She's 16.
You want to model the way. Yep.
Yeah. I just want to like be that. I want her to see that like, okay, my mom has confidence. My mom is, and so like, I'm trying to be a good role model for her, but I'm trying to also empower other women in a way of like, ladies, like, come on, like we're all beautiful. Cause I will be honest. I actually think women look more beautiful without any makeup on.
I have to tell you the same that I do too.
I really do.
So refreshing. Now, so Brad said, I want to know the person, not a mask. I want that person to be totally genuine.
Yeah.
That's because you're so genuine, Brad. Like when you're that genuine, and Tom said I have a lot of energy. I know. It just like pours out of me. And it's only 1 cup of coffee at like 8 o'clock this morning.
I haven't had any coffee because my stomach's a little off today. TMI. But like I'll just not have coffee because the last thing I need to do is be like, sorry, I gotta
go. yeah, we don't need it.
Again, I'm just being me, but hey.
Well, so we have a question for you though.
Oh, okay.
How do you learn to stop caring so much what others are expecting of you? Does that just come with getting wiser as we age? It's a great question.
Yeah, I honestly believe that because, like I had stated, I'm going to be 46 this year. It's like,
excuse me for 1 second. Excuse me. Evie, could you turn down TikTok, please? I'm on a live. Thanks. Have you ever? I mean, it's like so loud. Okay, so go on. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
But yeah, no, it's taken a lot of time for me to get to where I'm at, and I do believe that COVID gave me so much clarity in the sense of like not caring about what other people think. Like I really was. I'm in a place of like I want to pursue certain dreams, passions, things, and if I listen to what everybody has to say, because let's be honest, everyone has a effing opinion.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Everyone.
Everybody does about anything. And I'm like, I'm over it. I'm like, I'm going to listen to me. And I think once I realized that like, I'm the authority of my life and what I want to do, then I was kind of like, F what other people think. And then once that happens, then it does kind of change your mindset in the way of like, I'm just going to do me.
Sherry, I want to tag, like, as people say, piggyback on your point, but Sherry just said the greatest thing we can do for our daughters is watch what comes out of our mouths. And I so agree with that. I mean, body image stuff, or I can't eat that, whatever it is, or, like everybody tells my daughter she's so tiny all the time because she's stand it because it reinforces that message. And I always talk about being brave and being, courageous and being strong, because that's what I think matters. And it's just like when that is reinforced, it's like, it just makes me crazy. But yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it'll believe me, she's paying attention because my 16-year-old, there's things that I'm like, wow, she really is paying attention to what I'm doing and what I'm saying. It's like, keep doing it. And yet I purposely will never say, oh, I'm so fat, or, oh, I just, whatever. Like, there was
so good.
Doing.
Yeah, I know. They're not thinking about anything but themselves. And so what I wanted to say to you was there's an element of caring what other people think that I think I'm never going to get to a place where I just don't care. I'm going to care.
I don't care. Believe me. Like if someone came along,
like it's not like everybody, that's not how I feel. I feel like now I can stand stronger in my opinions and my decisions. And people are going to think, it's an allowing. People are going to think what they're going to think no matter what I do.
Yeah.
So, I can't control that. So it's not so much me getting to a point of not caring, because that's like a waste of my time. I'm going to care. Yeah. That's who I am. I do care. I'm empathic. I care. I want people to be happy. I'm a people pleaser, stuff I've worked on forever. But at the same time, like there's never going to be an FU from me. It's more going to be like, well, I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate that you have that opinion, but it ain't mine, so it's more of a security, I think, in our own, that for sure has come with age for me, and also just self-work, the self-work where it comes from. Sorry. Second question, as a father of a young daughter, what do you recommend to help with helping my daughter so know that she's beautiful and strong and brave so she can be a badass like the two of you when she's older? That is such a good question. Rock the boat. What do you say? I have an answer, but I want you to go first.
You know what? That's like, there's a lot there, right? Because, well, you have an answer, so you go first.
Okay. So, and mine's always like, I don't think it through, so it might come out all jumbled. Like I just, my first inclination is like the things that I think kids need, especially from a father-daughter. So there's a lot of different dynamics, but especially from a father-daughter, is consistency, is I love you, I believe in you. So, you know, and not to focus too much on looks. Like saying you're beautiful, I think is all encompassing, because beautiful can be like a soul, and beautiful, it's not, but to focus on how good people look and vanity is detrimental.
Yeah.
So I think that there's that, but I also think the strong, like I was saying about Evie, the strong, the brave, the courageous, the you can do anything and I will support you message. Yeah. You know, that support and that foundation from your dad when you're a girl, it really forms so much of what happens in your intimate life later.
No, I agree with that. And that's why I'm so thankful. Like, even though I'm divorced, my ex and I have a great relationship, and my ex and my daughter have a fantastic relationship. Like, my daughter, when she was playing softball, he's the one that would travel with her and everything. And so they have so yeah, he's very supportive of her. He, you know, he pushes her a little bit, but like, you know, just like as a father would.
Well, I mean, a parent does that, you know, a parent.
Like any other parent, but I can see her confidence level. Like, she's a 16-year-old that I'm always so proud of her, because I'll hear her talk to other boys, because she has a lot of guy friends. She's like me, where like the dudes, right? Like, she just has that type of personality. Yep. And I hear her talk like, and then when I hear her talk to other girls about guys, like, or boys, she just has this confidence about her of like, she knows her worth, because her dad is, you know, and myself, like, tell her that she's worth, you know, like, even my ex will be like, hey, because this is a good example. So it was like last year or something, my daughter made a comment about liking a boy, and she said, well, he's so nice to me. And my ex goes, sweetie, if that's your level of standard, him being nice to you, then you got like, you need to change your standards, because he's
setting the bar,
nice to you no matter what. Like, that should be a reason why you like a guy.
This is what's crazy. This is what's crazy, to your point. So, hi, Casey. So that's ready. This person that just commented this was my first, since we're 11 years old, like, love of my life. Like, first, okay. So 11, we were 11 together. We were 15 together. We were 20. I mean, and we were on and off relationship wise, but like always have this most incredible bond. Right. Yeah. And that is who single-handedly formed the way that I looked at men and what I deserve from men. So like that relationship at going through life like that with that person, on and off, and you know, we would fight and we would be together, we wouldn't, whatever. Yeah. Like, that is who showed me how a man is supposed to treat you. So it's interesting. Yeah, we were talking about father-daughter, but it's just interesting that he just popped on.
It makes that's you. I love that. But yeah, like, that's important. And even my son, he and I were having a conversation the other day, and my son just turned 20. So he's a sophomore in college. He's in a frat, like kind of a typical 20-year-old boy, right? Yeah. And he's even shocked at the level of like how these girls' expectations, the bar is so low that they even know that they pretty much can like get any chick if they're good looking, if they're charming, if they're like polite. And my son is extremely good looking, charming. He's very polite when it comes to, like, he's that kid, right? But he's also smart. He's like an Eddie Haskell, right? Like, he knows what he's doing.
Right.
The thing is like, he was commenting about that. He's like, Mom, it's incredible. He's like, and even my daughter, it was the three of us. So it was my daughter, my son, and I, and they were talking about how on TikTok, you'll get these girls do these videos. Get yourself a guy that will hand you a drink when you're at the drive-thru, or get yourself a guy that will.
You're like, wait a minute, that's the bar?
And that's the bar. And my kids are like, that's really sad. And I was like, well, at least my kids get that that's not good and that's really sad. But there's too many kids out there that they don't get that.
And as parents, especially as moms, we have to model the way. Like, we have to show them in our relationships, whether it's with a spouse or somebody that we're dating, kids have met at that point or something like that. We have to show them. By the way, Tom said, can you tie my hands down? No, I talk with my hands. It's the way I roll.
And you know what's funny? Is it because you're super energetic? And I mean, I'm usually you. I'm also, I kind of feel reserved right now.
Another way. my dad is always like in a restaurant. He's like knocking into the waiter and like spilling stuff. Like that's like my dad. I don't know how to be any other way. All right. So I'm going to sit on my hands. Okay.
No, it's all good.
No, let's see if this works. But, yeah, I mean, we have to model the way, and we have to make sure that our men and women, fathers and mothers, we have to make sure that we help them set the bar. We have to, and it all comes down to self-worth. It all comes down to self-worth. It's
really
like, that's not going to fly. This is annoying. I'm going to take my hands off.
I was going to say,
that doesn't work for me. Like, you know, like, or why, when a guy's like, I'll give you an example. Like, there was a time when I was ghosted recently.
Ooh.
Like completely ghosted. And it really, really screwed me up. And I was like questioning my worth. And I have to tell you that, you know, once I stood back up, it was like, are you serious? Like,
like I was gonna laugh. Yeah.
Really? You know, but at first I was like so hurt and upset. So it's just very interesting how, you know, it all really comes down to our worth. And that is so, like, the seeds are so planted by our parents and our relationships with our parents, divorced or not. Because I have a great relationship with my ex-husband too.
Yeah.
And we try to like, our relationship as mother and father of Sammy and Evie really set the bar for, I think, my kids' relationships in the future, because they see the mutual respect and the understanding.
Like the mutual respect, right? Because even there was something, so I don't know what, it was like a couple months ago. I don't know what happened. I was over there and my ex snapped at me. Like he had never, it'd been like years, and like we've been for 10 years. And he just snapped at me in this way where I was like, it just like stopped me in my tracks. And I don't know, it like triggered something where I just kind of like cowered and I didn't respond. And I just walked out of the house and I left. And even my daughter was like, I think she was like, Dad, like, what the F? Like, you, like, because she sensed my energy. And then in that moment, my ex, because later I came home and I did get a text from him and said, hey, I really have to apologize for snapping at you. It has nothing to do with you. Like, I've just had a shitty day, and it's not.
And it could have been anything. Yeah. And
you do that. And I apologize. And I just responded with, thank you. I appreciate your apology. And that was it. Right. Well, then later he told me that when I left, both my kids were like, what the F, Dad? You know?
Yeah. And so your bar is set. They have their bars.
He's had to work on it a little bit but he told me that he actually had a conversation with them and said, you know what, guys, like, I shouldn't have snapped at your mom like that. Like, that was really inappropriate. Like, it was my thing. Like, I don't want you to, like, he had to explain it to them too. Cause he also realized, like, they're at that age where they're impressionable with relationships. And the last thing he wants is, you know, his son to be a dick.
Well, here's what he did that was so important. He took responsibility.
Yeah.
And we all make mistakes, and we all do, you know, I'll fly off the handle, whatever. And it's like, I believe, and I feel the same way about my children. I believe that and in relationships and with your kids and whatever, every place in life, at work, if you take responsibility for a mistake that you made, then you will be respected, and it will be, it's not making an excuse. It's not, well, I was this, but it's, I did this. I shouldn't have behaved that way. Yeah. And I want you to know how sorry I am. And you take responsibility. And I just think that's such a key piece of relationships, you know, like I would respect someone a lot more that took responsibility versus somebody that like never did anything wrong. Like, I want people to be human. I want people to be themselves.
And I think there's a point there where, as parents, it's really important for us to be able to do that, because I think what happens is a lot of parents, you know, they feel like they have to have this like perfect persona, or they can't admit that they haven't made any mistakes, or they can't admit that, like, you know, underage drinking or smoking weed and I mean, believe me, I've done a lot of shit, and there's a time and place to be open with your kids about that. And I have been very open with my kids with all of that, because they're at that age, and I appreciate it, and they appreciate it, because they know that I'm not, that they can come to me, we can talk about it, that I'm not pretending to be perfect, because I'm not. Because I think what's happening right now is already you have social media for kids. So anything that they do wrong, it's everybody knows, right? And then you have this cancel culture where they do something wrong and suddenly, like, and I've seen it even with my son's friends and people in this community, where they've said something or they put something on Snap and someone screenshot it, and then suddenly, like, they're not accepted to this school that they were going, they were out. Like, it's bad. Wow. So what's happening is these kids think that they have to be perfect and they can't make any kind of mistake because then their life is over. And then if they do something like to that effect, everybody knows, what do? They take their lives. My kids have too many kids that have already committed suicide.
I know.
I am like, people, what are we doing to these children? Like, they're kids. They have to make mistakes. They have to go crap. They have to.
But here's what they have to understand. They have to understand that nothing first of all, Case, if you're still watching, thank God we didn't have Snapchat. That's all I have to say. Thank the Lord, we did not have Snapchat. Because I'm pretty sure we invented sexting. But anyway, so the whole thing is like, we have to be able to make sure they know that this is the way it is. Unfortunately, as sad as it is, what we can change sooner than changing the way it is to make sure they know that everything's permanent. Yeah. Anything that you put in writing, anything that you put in a picture is there to be circulated and seen.
Which is sad. Like, it makes me sad that we have those conversations, right? And that's the thing is like, I don't want my kids to live that way. Like, I want them to still be able to be kids and make mistakes and know that like it isn't the end of the world, because I myself try to take my life and they know that because I thought like, I was a perfectionist. There was a lot of stuff going on. I thought, well, I can't be perfect. So what's the point? Right.
What's the point? Yeah.
And now looking back, I'm like, that is so dumb. But at the same time, like I get where you can get into that place. So for me, having those really difficult conversations with my kids is really important because my daughter does come to me when she feels sad and doesn't know
because she feels comfortable.
Yeah, she doesn't know the difference between depression and sadness and even boredom. Right? Sometimes
I've heard you talk about this before. I've heard you talk about this.
Yeah, it could be depression. So I love that she can come to me and talk to me about those things too. And so that's why it's so important because as a parent, we all know at the end of the day, we just want to know that our kids can trust us.
Okay. And they trust us. Lauren said, how is the internet not broken right now? It's my favorite comment ever that I've ever gotten in the podcast I've done.
Lauren,
love you, girlfriend.
I've never actually spoken to her. And
I haven't either, but I adore her. I adore her.
I finally messaged her yesterday. I'm like, hey girl, hey. I'm like, can we get on a Zoom call, please? She's like, yeah.
So Brad says, as a dad of daughters, I want my daughters to feel beautiful in their own skin, having someone who honors, loves, and respects you. If they're not, then they've got to go. Well, that's a good message from your dad. I don't know that my dad always gave me that message, but he definitely felt it. Because I remember like a couple comments here and there where he was like, you're out of his league or something like that. And I was like, but he never, my dad's not, that.
See, I was kind of the opposite. Like I was such a prude. I was super sheltered. I was such a priss. But at the same time, I will tell you this. I've had conversations with my daughter and her friends about sex. And I also try to explain them. I'm like, hey, don't ever let a boy think that you're not cool because you're not having sex. Like, don't ever think that that's something that you have to do in order to be,
accepted.
Like, yeah, I'm like, and because I give them, and I love that I'm like a living example. And some of you out there might be like, what? And yes, this is true, folks.
Tell it, girl. Tell it.
Virgin. All up until I was 22, I lost my virginity to my ex-husband. So I had only been with one guy up until I was 35 years old. Okay. He was my first everything. So I went to UCLA. I was in a sorority. I was friends with all the top athletes, all the fraternity brothers. I would, party with them, but never ever went anything further than like kissing. Like I was such a prude, like I will own it. But I tell the girls, I go, girls, if anything, the guys respected me more. I was like the girl in the inner circle. I was the one that they like really trusted and had that respect. I go, and I didn't give it up. So it just goes to show you that you don't have to necessarily be that person in order for a guy to like you. And like I said, I'm kind of an extreme. Like I do want
I mean, the message is really important now. I'm like, I'm just going to be quiet. But the message, I can't compete with this, but the message is so important. And it's all about self-worth. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So that's my thread in everything. It's making, you had that. And it's interesting because you did have, some mental health issues and a suicide attempt and things, but you had the self-worth enough to protect yourself sexually and physically. And that's an interesting sort of dichotomy.
Yeah, right.
Which I think is really cool.
I was like, damn, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seriously so proud of you for doing that. It's pretty cool to be able to say that. It's pretty cool.
I mean, it is one of those things where I look back and I'm like, how did I even, and I'm lucky that I didn't even put myself in situations, because I put myself in situations where, drinking and in a room with a guy. And luckily, like I was really blessed to where it didn't.
Yeah. I think you and I probably got lucky a couple of times where maybe.
Yeah, because I look back and I'm like, oh man, I really did put myself into some stupid situations.
I mean, and we all do, but like you said, we were kind of able to make those mistakes, I mean, those mistakes are important so as a learning too. Unfortunately, we weren't hurt or affected by that.
So I was like lucky in that respect. But yeah, it's funny because when I was telling the story to my daughter's friends, they were like, wow, Miss Borras, good for you.
They were so proud of you. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thanks for coming on.
It cringes about it sometimes, knowing that like my, his dad was like my first, and like
I mean, it's something that you can know, but then as a kid, you don't want to think about with your parents.
Yeah, I mean, but I think we need to have those conversations ever, because they're learning. Hey, Mike, believe me, they're seeing all that shit on social media. Like, they're already experiencing what porn is at a young age. Because
I just read an article and sent it to my ex-husband actually about mistakes that you're making is not telling. I mean, they're all like something like 80% of tweens have seen porn on a mobile phone.
Yeah, I think they say by the age of 12, like boys, I think they say by the age of 12, boys have already experienced some kind of internet porn.
Not really ready for this. Yeah, but I guess I better. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thanks for signing on.
Oh, hey, Jeff. Like, so as a parent, like, wouldn't you want to be the one like educating your kids?
Yes, but what the article was saying is that you might be embarrassed and it might be uncomfortable, and that's okay. Everybody feels that way for the most part. It's like something you have to work through.
Yeah. I mean, I had my son, another story, and I was like horrified. So he was young, maybe 11, 12. And I had come over and he was like, hey, Mom, he's like, so this girl like sent me like a nude, like on Snapchat. And I was like, oh my God. And he goes, Mom, I didn't know what to do. Like you could tell like it like freaked him out. And I was just so pissed at this 12-year-old girl. I was like, what are you doing? Like, first of all, like, why are you thinking that you need to do that? Right. And then like you mortified my son who is innocent here. It was like, and then I had to have the conversation. I hope you deleted it. And I hope you didn't take that screenshot. And I hope you didn't distribute it, because that's another thing too, is they don't realize they could go to freaking jail for, it's considered child pornography and distribute all the, like, I mean, these are crazy conversations that we're having. Boo Bear, but they need to be had. And, it's horrifying that I'm saying these things, but at the same time,
but it's reality. It's reality.
It's happening. Like this.
Talk to your children. Talk to your children. Don't keep waiting. You're not supposed to wait. It's not smart to wait till they get to a certain point and then have the talk. Like,
yeah, I think they're saying now like 9 years. Like,
I know.
Yeah, I think 9 years old is the age that when you should be you should be talking about those things.
Brad said he had a discussion with his kids about sex and guys. My message was, guys are pigs and want one thing. A good man will respect you and it's precious. If you do have to use protection. You know what? I got to tell you, it hasn't changed, Brad. Guys are pigs and they want one thing.
Well, that's another conversation that I had with my daughter and her friends the other day, because they were like complaining about boys. They're like, boys are so stupid. And I said, you know what, girls, I wish I could sit here and tell you it's going to change when you get older. I go, because they're like, my daughter and I were talking about this. She goes, I don't understand, guys. Why can't they just be honest? Why can't they just communicate? And I go, sweetie, I'm 45 years old and I'm still. I don't know. Why can't they be honest and just communicate and just be forthcoming and all of those things, and why they have to hide certain shit? She goes, I just don't get it, Mom. I'm like, I don't get it either, sweetie. And it's not going to get any easier. Like, I'm sorry, the reality.
Here's what moves. That barometer and that bar doesn't move. But what moves is your self-worth. That's what it doesn't change at all. From 14 to 40.
I know they're not all pigs, Mike. I know, of course, Michael.
No, I'm sorry. When it came out of my mouth, I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. But I think most men have one thing on their mind, and it begins with, what it begins with. So I think that the majority, it doesn't mean that they act on it. You might be an awesome, respectful caring, empathetic individual.
Yeah.
But, you have to remember that Raquel and I are in like that dating world in your 40s where like it's just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Yeah. So it's you get a little jaded in it. It's like, where are the good ones?
It's hard not to, but I'm also in a place in my life where I've already, being that I've already been single for 10 years, I actually enjoy it. I really like my independence, and I've gotten to the point where I've gotten so used to living on my own that it's like, I think about it, I'm like, I don't know if I really could share my space. So I'm in that place of like almost settling in the fact of like, I might not meet somebody, and that's okay. Cause like my dad was the love of her life. Like, so she also lost her virginity to my dad, like I think he might be the only person she's ever been with.
Yeah.
And they've been divorced for decades. But she's just like, he was the love of my life. And she's still single. She's 72, but she's having a blast. She's got her girlfriend. She travels. And so I'm kind of like, you know what? I kind of see that I could be like my mom, like that.
Yeah, right.
So I've definitely thought about it.
What that means to me is, I really screwed up when I said that. He said it.
No.
I'm sorry, God, forgive this. Live shows.
To all men.
Live shows. Oh my God, I can't edit this or anything. I didn't mean it like that. It's just, so he makes a great point. Do we all want one thing? Sure. But we don't all go about getting it the same way. I think that's an amazing differentiator.
Yes.
And I understand. I mean, I understand, having needs. I get it. Yeah. Michael, of course, talk about a good guy that would never hurt anyone in the world.
Yeah. And it's hard to find on all sides. It really is. But I try to set an example. So I'm very honest, and I'm very honest with men. I'm very upfront about my expectation about everything. But I also do it because I'm like, if I'm being honest with you, dude, then I'm giving you permission and space to be honest with me. Like, I want it to be reciprocated. So that's why I'm also very honest, because I want it in return.
Well, so, and that's why it's so disappointing when you don't get it in return. I think sometimes when you have full transparency and the person,
and then that's what my daughter was too, because my daughter sees, once again, like I'm her example. So then she kind of emulates what I do, and so then when she does that with but these are 16-year-old boys,
Oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. Wink, wink. I'm so screwed. Jeff said I stepped in.
Just blame it on me because it's my fault. Every time like shit hits the fan, I'm somehow involved.
I'm always in trouble. I'm always in trouble. So I don't have to blame you. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to practice what I preach, and I'm going to take responsibility. Yeah. I should not have said that. It's not true. And I meant it in a completely, I should not have said it. I take responsibility. So please, internet, don't break for this reason. If you're going to break, have it because it's the two of us. I've never gone over on one of my shows, not a minute over. And we're 7 minutes over because I'm enjoying I'm enjoying the conversation so much. No, I don't even care. It's Friday. And also I might as well step in some more shit. Why don't we just keep talking? I could say some more obnoxious things.
And believe me, I say plenty. I'm sure I've already said way too much. It's like, the thing is, my ex and my son are on LinkedIn, and we're connected, and they see the stuff that I post, and luckily, like, they're pretty good about like not making fun of me, but I'm like super open, and they're like the opposite. They're very guarded and
you're not showing your picture.
Then there's me. I'm like, then my son did this.
I try to find a happy medium, but I really dropped the ball today. Brad said it's his fault. No, I'm taking responsibility. You women are always starting all the trouble. Yeah,
there you go.
He said, when I used to date, I always thought of it like a sales call. I try to disqualify the person so neither of us is wasting time. I like that. I understand it. My fucking hands off. It's the old adage, the 2% bad apples label, the rest can be. Well, where are never mind. I can't. Yeah. It's like this has become, we need to be able to no, you're exactly right, Peter. Thank you for winking and coming on.
This is a perfect example of, social media. We can live stream now, and you say stuff that you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could take that back. But at the same time, it's like, it's inevitable for us to like have to stick our foot in our mouth sometimes. Like, I've
been lucky so far. It hasn't happened. Jeremy, JT, what's up?
Oh, I don't know. JT.
I don't know if I'm freezing or what, but You don't know Jeremy? Oh, I got to introduce you to.
I don't think I do.
He wrote a book. And I edited it for him, and I got editing credit, and it was like really exciting. I can't believe you see that.
Baller over here. Yes, we love hearing this. I think it's so refreshing. Honestly, thank you to hear it because we all know you don't really feel this way about men.
Well, he's the sweetest. He's so sweet. No, I mean, listen. I'm friends with more men and have a ton of respect for men. And I feel like I'm on The View, and I just, I'm getting like yelled at. I'm like Whoopi. I said something like, Joyce.
Rosie O'Donnell, the worst. Rosie always said something that like later.
You're looking in the wrong apple barrels. Yeah, I guess so. Hinge is not the right apple barrel, I guess.
Oh my God. I was on Hinge for a little bit, and Hinge and Zeus. Those were the two that
I never even opened that. I don't know what that is.
Okay, that was like 3 or 4 years ago, but unfortunately, like I just had a horrible experience. I've still have PTSD from that relationship.
It's all so bad. It's all just so bad.
I know.
It's during COVID, forget it. You can't meet anybody anyway. It's like I'm all about LinkedIn. This is my playground.
Yeah, well, funny. So just because remember when you and I had our first conversation, it was last year in August. Because I was looking at our messages and we hadn't messaged since August, and then you had asked me about. Remember, I told you I'd reconnected with my college friend. So it's just funny because I'm going to probably see him again when I'm out in California, but. So I was like, I got to update her on that. We still, have a friendship and everything like that. And I'll probably see him when I go out there. But yeah, otherwise it is like freaking crickets in the department.
It's a tough time. It's a tough time.
Because what the hell is Zeus? It's a dating app. And the only reason why I got on Zeus when I did at the time.
I don't know that exists anymore, Rack.
Maybe not, because it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Because I think at the time I Googled like best dating apps. Yeah. Okay, so this is a funny story. So some of my girlfriends are like, get on eHarmony because they ask you all these questions and they really vet. And I'm like, okay. So it was like a 45-minute long thing of answering all the questions. So I get on, I pay the whatever price, because obviously they do it on purpose where you can't see what anybody messages you unless you upgrade to whatever. So I'm like, fine, I'll upgrade because it's like they're telling me I'm getting these messages from all these men that I'm like, oh, okay, he looks.
You're like, oh my God, there's all this interest.
He's like, looks like he's, got his shit together, has a job, all those things, right? So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do this. Well, as soon as I paid, and no disrespect, but it was like the guys that they were suddenly connecting me with, I was like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. Like I clearly answered all your questions, and these are the people that you're sending my way. I'm like, I can't do this. So I called the customer service line for eHarmony. And I was like, listen, I know I probably missed the free trial period or whatever. I was like, but I need to cancel. And I was explaining to her what was going on. I'm like, listen, I did it because of my freaking girlfriends. I was sick of them, pressuring me. It was like social, it was like pressure. I got on, and this is what happened. And she was cracking up so hard by the end of the conversation. She goes, I will give you your money back entirely. Like, I get it. Like, I'm so sorry.
I mean, listen, let me tell you something. You're not the only one.
No, I have a lot of friends that are married to Match. People, Plenty of Fish is another one that I have a friend that married her guy from Plenty of Fish. Several Match ones, one eHarmony. So like, yeah, it works for some people. But yeah, it was like hilarious for me because I was like, yeah, hell to the no. Like, we're getting off of this eHarmony thing.
Let me just for the men that are on too, that while I take my foot out of my mouth, let me debunk. Is that the right word? One rumor that I'll totally explain that I'm gonna take all the juice out of. Nice guys do not finish last. I love nice. I do not like an asshole. That's not interesting to me. That doesn't get me.
I used to like it.
I have no time for not nice and kind. That's because remember I told you Casey, he's off now, but he's like set the bar for me. It's like all about being kind. And I don't do that whole like chase the guy that's not nice. It's not. Yeah. So don't be like, I'm a nice guy and I'm never going to get anyone. Like, just be yourself.
No, you will. And that's the thing is like, I have made some really good guy friends recently that they have set the bar too, just in general. Like, yeah, we're not dating, but the way they treat me and they respect me and the way all of that, I'm like, this is what a guy that I should date like, and I want like, so yeah, for me, definitely the whole a-hole douchebag thing. Like back in the day, the whole bad guy thing, I was attracted to that because I was such a goody and I was such a priss, and there was something like intriguing and mysterious about it. Now I'm like, oh, no.
I love Peter's comment. No, there's nothing intriguing to me about an asshole now.
Yeah, look for the guy with the
nothing.
part of snacks. He's like, I'm just making you. You know what? You know what's funny is that because of COVID, it's like you can't really do the smile thing. But I will tell you,
it totally screws up my entire game. But I have like a big smile and it's covered.
Time, like when COVID first hit, I was at the grocery store in the produce section. I think I was looking for avocados or onions or something. And this guy was like, I'm friendly and I do have a way of like showing that I am smiling.
With your eyes.
Yeah. And so he's like, I can tell that you have a beautiful smile under that mask, this and that. What's your name? Like big time. And then he like asked me for like, if I wanted to go out for like a glass of wine or whatever. But I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like hardcore and I'm in a mask and it's COVID.
I mean, it's kind of nice, right?
Yeah, I was like,
man,
got it.
How are you, doll? Peter is on it today. I beg to differ. I can always see a smile in the eyes.
Yeah,
all right.
So now you can. And if you do have pretty eyes and you have gorgeous eyes, Annie,
thank you.
And everything, like I could totally see how even with the mask, you know, a guy could be like, okay, yeah.
Well, so let me tell you the latest story. If we're not gonna, who cares? My kids you guys have to wait for lunch. I'm not done talking about dating sites and men and how they're so not pigs. They're amazing. So I was at the dog park with my daughter and this man was talking to us. Yeah. And like, he had a dog and we have our dog Randall and we were talking and like, then I'm realizing like afterwards, he was talking about like where he lives. I'm like, it's like a really young area. I'm 42. Right. So he takes his mask off and he's like, I would love to like hang out with you. And he was 25.
Let me tell you, girlfriend,
I was like,
I
child
5-year-olds all the time hitting on me. I'm like,
right?
I love an older woman because we know what we want. We are honest. We're straightforward. And there's something about that these younger guys are not getting with the younger girls because it's a lot of the games and the insecurities. And so I get that.
You're in such different places in your life. I mean, you're in such different worlds. Like all I can think about is like, wow, you have a lot of life that I've lived during that time that like, I'm not living that life anymore. You know, like
what I will have to say
it's flattering. I'm not going to lie. It's flattering.
Yeah, it's flattering. And I'm not going to lie either. Like, I've had my fair share. The thing too is like I'm also very young at heart and I look younger and I do kind of have a lot of energy, so it matches a lot of times, right? But like I know I'm smart enough to understand like this is not going to be anything more than what it is or long term.
Right. You have to understand like what it is, right?
It is a nice ego boost. It is a nice feeling because there is going to come a point in time where I'm not going to get a second look from someone, like I'm going to be like, man, I wish, like, that's the thing too, is I look at it like we're in the future. Like, let's say I am in my 50s, 60s and I'm not getting that. I'm going to be like, you know what? I wish I would have taken advantage of the time of when I was getting, like, I don't want to have regrets and I don't want to total cougar town. Like, I'll own it. Cougarville.
Cougarville. That is funny. They are on it. Cougar, they are on it. They like the 42-year-old, 45-year-old woman.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
That's
and really funny.
Like,
so that's like, I have to feed my children, but you're not even gonna believe this. Check out what I have. Check this out. You're the first one, guys. Everybody ready? Jeff has seen this, but I'm gonna do that. I have an outro that I never had before. You ready?
Yes. Does that mean I'm going to get?
What do I do when I'm done? I'm going to hit end broadcast. So everybody, peace, love you.
Okay, so I'm going to be able to say goodbye, everybody.
Right. So watch my outro. All right, ready? Here we go. Let's be the best version of ourselves. Just keep learning and evolving no matter what. So here I am, bold, strong, fearless. Let's live fearlessly together. This is real and candid. This is how we live. Share this with a friend and subscribe to Living with Annietude. You, me, us. Let's talk. Let's evolve. That was cool, right?
I thought we were like done because we're still live.
I didn't hit end. end. I didn't hit end. Wasn't that cool?
Really good.
I made that myself. I'm really excited.
What did you use? Like a software?
Doodly.
Oh, okay.
So I had the voiceover thing done. That was done for me.
Yeah.
Where I made the voiceover and they mixed it with the music, these people. But then I made the Doodly with the drawing and everything. So
that's fantastic.
I guess I'm supposed to hit end, but whatever.
Yeah.
So
for my
everyone,
channel, I'm gonna do something like that. But I'm gonna have the kids that I talk to. They're really talented. I'm gonna have them collaborate with everything. They're gonna do everything for my
that's
life.
amazing. That's amazing. I'm gonna end it, but you stay. Don't move.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Peace. It was an awesome, awesome time. We have to do this again. And we're out.